Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're tackling something that's absolutely critical for any manager out there. We're talking about taking all that dense, complicated data and turning it into a story. A story that's clear, powerful, and actually makes things happen. So let's just dive right in.
So, you've got the data, right? I mean, spreadsheets for days, dashboards blinking with numbers, it's everywhere. We all know the feeling. But here's the real question. What's the story? What is all that data actually trying to tell you? And look, if you can't nail that down in one simple sentence, then what you've got isn't a story. It's just noise.
And that right there, that's the big problem so many of us are dealing with, isn't it? It's not that we don't have enough information. Heck, most of the time, we're literally drowning in it. So let's talk about why just looking at raw numbers by themselves just doesn't work.
I want you to picture one of those giant spreadsheets. You know the one with thousands and thousands of rows? It's just a wall of numbers. It's overwhelming. And without some kind of structure, some kind of story, that data is useless for making a decision. Actually, it's worse than useless. It causes that analysis paralysis thing, where you're so buried in information, you can't do anything at all.
All right, so here's the quick summary on this part. The goal isn't just to get more data. That's not it. The real goal is to get more clarity. And the good news is there's a really powerful way to build that bridge, to get from all that chaos over to total clarity.
Okay, so how do we actually build that bridge? Well, the answer comes down to getting really good at two things that go hand in hand: data visualization and data storytelling. These are the tools that are going to take us from a jumble of raw numbers to real insights we can actually do something with.
Let's start with data visualization. You know, I love that it's called both an art and a science. The science part, that's about being accurate, choosing the right kind of chart for your data. But the art part, that's the magic. That's the design that makes it so clean and easy to read that the main point just pops. It jumps right out at you.
But you know, a pretty chart on its own, it's not quite enough. And that's where data storytelling comes into the picture. This is really the next level up. It's not about just throwing a graph on a slide. It's about wrapping a whole story around it. A story that explains, here's what happened, here's why you should care, and here's what we need to do about it. That's what makes it stick with people.
Think of a great data story like a sturdy three-legged stool. The first leg is the narrative. You need a clear beginning, middle, and end. The second leg is the visuals, the charts and graphs that are your proof. And the third leg, which is so often forgotten, is context. That's the background info that answers the big "so what" question. You take away any one of those legs and the whole thing just topples over.
So, let's wrap this section up. The big takeaway is this: don't just show your data, tell its story. When you weave together that narrative, the visuals, and the right context, you turn a boring old chart into this incredibly powerful tool that can actually change minds and drive decisions.
All right, we've established we need to be storytellers. But how do we actually design the visuals so that story is super clear and hits home? Well, that's where a few key design principles become our best friends.
Principle number 1, and this is the big one: clarity and simplicity. Keep it simple. Every single thing on your chart, every line, every label, every single color has to earn its place. Ask yourself, does this help tell the story? If the answer is no, get rid of it. The goal here is the 5-second rule. Can someone look at your visual and get the main idea in 5 seconds? If so, you've won.
Okay, next up, context is king. A number all by itself is basically meaningless, like saying sales are up 10%. Sounds good, right? But 10% compared to what? Yesterday? Last year? Our biggest competitor? See? You need context. So use really clear titles, use your colors strategically to point things out, and give people benchmarks so they know what good even looks like.
Now this next one is a total game changer, especially if you're dealing with a lot of data. Make it interactive. I'm talking about things like filters that let people slice the data how they want, or drill downs where they can click to get more detail. It's awesome because it turns your audience from just passively watching into active explorers. And that, right there, sends engagement through the roof.
And last but absolutely not least, let's talk about accessibility. A great design has to work for everyone. That means doing things like using color palettes that are friendly for people with color blindness. It means making sure your visuals look good on a phone, not just a giant monitor. And please, make the text big enough to actually read. Because think about it, what good is a brilliant insight if half your audience can't see it properly?
Okay, quick recap on design.
For visuals that really pack a punch, remember these 4 things: clear, contextual, interactive, and accessible. Get those right, and you're golden.
All right, this is it. We're at the destination, the most important part of the whole process. You've done the hard work, you crunched the numbers, you made a great visual, you've got your story. Now, you have to present it in a way that actually makes someone make a decision. I love this quote because it nails exactly what your job as a manager is in this situation. You can't just throw a chart up on the screen and expect people to get it. Nope. Your job is to be the guide. You have to walk them through it, point things out, and help them see the same story that you're seeing in the data.
Let's make this real with a classic example, a customer acquisition funnel. So the visual tells a pretty clear story, right? At the top in the awareness stage, we've got a ton of people visiting the website. Great. But then, whoa, look at that massive drop when we get to consideration. And by the time we get to the bottom, to actual purchases, it's just a tiny little trickle. So we know what is happening. The real multi-million-dollar question is, why?
And this is where you become the hero of the story. Your real value isn't just pointing out the drop-off. Anyone can see that. Your value is in explaining why it's happening. You're the one who digs in and says, okay, I think it's because our website is too clunky, or our pricing page is super confusing. That why? That's the golden nugget. That's the insight that actually lets you fix the problem.
So you never, ever want to end a presentation without this. You have to close with a super clear data-backed recommendation. You connect the dots. You say, because of this why, here is what we should do. Something like, we need to redesign our pricing page to make it simpler. Our data suggests this could boost conversions by 15%. See? It's specific and it's actionable.
And at the end of the day, this is the whole point. This is what we're trying to do. It's not about making charts that look cool. It's about getting everyone in the room on the same page, creating a shared understanding so they can all nod their heads in agreement and say, okay, let's go do that.
So I want you to burn this 3-step framework into your brain for every data presentation you ever give. 1, show the what. 2, explain the why. And 3, recommend the now what. What, why, now what. If you do that, you'll be unstoppable.
Listen, every single spreadsheet, every database in your company has a story locked inside it. It could be a story about how to be more efficient, or how to make customers happier, or how to find a whole new way to grow. The story is there. The only question left is, are you ready to be the storyteller?